Welcome to you to this month's Mapping It Out. My name is Guy and I will be hosting you this evening and asking questions, asking your questions as a matter of fact. So please, in the comments, write the word question in caps and then ask me your question. And I will ask that of our guest, who will be none other than Till. But before we bring Till in, a few little announcements. The next episode will air on the 21st of May, so mark that in your calendar. Tonight's show is, as usual, full of amazing stuff. We get to see all kinds of new asset goodies that are being added. And we also get a demo. I'm very excited for the demo. It's going to impress. I guarantee you that they always do. So lots to look forward to tonight, and to tell us more about the future of Dungeon Fog as a company, let's bring in Till. Hello Till, how are you doing?
Hello, good evening everyone, or good morning, or whatever it is where you are. I'm doing fine. I'm great. I'm happy to be here as always. You did a big announcement, like the future of Dungeon Fog.
It's like the future
of Dungeon Fog. Yeah, I brought a lot of updates here, and I'm talking about our roadmap and what's going on here. So it's kind of mapping it out dev talk, where we chat about the ongoing development, what we're doing, and answer questions. I think, Guy, did you? I didn't pay attention. Did you do your question bit?
I did.
Very good. So if you have a question, put it in caps in front of it so Guy can see it and I can answer it.
There we go. Absolutely. Till, let us talk about the future. So let's bring up that
the roadmap
slide. Yes.
Okay. I need to find my mouse. There you go. Okay. So now we have the company news slide at the background. If you remember, if you've been watching the last stream, this is what we have been planning for 2025. It is a rough sketch of what we're aiming for. And as you might know, if you have been with us over the past years, plans are as long valid as they are planned. As soon as they go into action, things start to get jumbled around a bit. So I thought it might be good to bring an update to the roadmap, where you see in terms of, we had the last stream in January. So now we are getting mid to end of March, end of Q1 is approaching. How much has changed on our roadmap? How much is affected? And I think personally that we bring mostly good news. So good news, and everything's red on there. No, the good news is that we are, in terms of DEIOS development, we are very much on track. The what we have learned over the past weeks since the last mapping it out, and since we've created the roadmap, is that we were actually overconfident when it came to the account unification. And the reason for that is mainly because we have 250,000 accounts in our databases. And although me and my CEO brain was like, oh, we just merged them and everything will be fine, the dev team was like, hey, slow down. We need to be careful. We need to run a couple of tests. We need to do test migrations beforehand. And that has happened. And luckily, my devs made the call, because the test migrations were kind of chaotic. So we said, okay, let's take this really slow. Let's add another month at least of testing before we do the account migration and the account unification. And this is what you can see here on the screen. Is we wanted to be done with the account unification around the end of April or mid of Q2. And we are now taking the time of Q2 to make sure that everything works before we unify the accounts. And we don't know, it might be that next week everything is working and we're back on track, but it might be that it is still painful and it needs to be reiterated and reiterated. So from the last time I had a chat with the dev team, they said, okay, end of April is optimistic, mid of May gets into the green zone, end of May is realistic, and if we go end of Q1, that's a pessimistic estimate, but this is kind of the time frame that we're looking at. So what does, again, for people who don't know what the whole account unification is about, the idea is when we did the DEIOS Kickstarter, we created a separate account system where we could track the backer kit backers and people who wanted to pre-order after the Kickstarter was over. And we didn't want to merge this with the existing, which was a stupid decision looking back at the time. But at that time we said, no, it's cleaner to keep them separated, because then we can manage all the backer kit orders and the post backer kit pre-orders separately, and we can address them without them being meshed into the whole Dungeon Fog account system. And now that the open beta is coming closer, we said, well, okay, that's stupid. People should not have a separate account for DEIOS and a separate account for the battlemap editor and all the services that are tied to the battlemap editor, like the asset management and the viewers and all that stuff. So we decided that it's time to merge those accounts back. And in the process of that, we said, okay, if we want to do this, why don't we also make sure that we're running on the newest databases, that we're updating our authentication systems to modern authentication system, like with two-factor authentication and all the Shazam that happens there. And therefore, we spent the past months with updating our web front-end systems to actually reflect that, to actually work with the new databases. And all of that is done. The authentication is done. The only thing that's left is actually merging the accounts.
Yeah.
And as I said before, that's not something we want to mess up. So we're taking a really, really, really careful approach there.
Now, Till, Nicholas Kopp has got a very good question, and I think I'm going to expand the question even further. The account unification, there are no negatives to the delay in terms of people can still access everything, yes. They can still log in, they just have to use two different logins. That's all.
If you are a pre-order or Kickstarter supporter of DEIOS, the only thing that will change for you is at one point you will get a login window. You'll get a bunch of emails from us beforehand, apparently. But we will notify you that your account has been merged, and you please update your password and use this new credentials to log in. And that's all of it. So in terms of access to DEIOS, nothing changes. At some point, you will have to reset your password, and then you get the same access as before. But with that password or with the new credentials, you will have access to the battlemap editor and DEIOS in one go.
Okay.
For someone who has probably just a battlemap account or just a DEIOS account, that means that you will get access to both services with the new unified account through one account. Which means, for example, that if you only have a battlemap account, so you didn't kickstart DEIOS, you didn't pre-order DEIOS later, you're just listening in and you're like, okay, how's DEIOS coming along? This is the only one who's affected by it, because we wanted to give you access through open beta in Q1. And as you can see on the DEIOS roadmap, it is going to remain a closed beta launch until the account unification works, and then we can give public access for everyone who wants to test. DEIOS.
Okay, awesome.
I hope that answers it.
It does. It definitely does. It definitely does. All right. So that's where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen in the immediate future? Because there's something that's going to be happening
Yeah.
in a couple of days.
Yes. We are, because of the system changes and the updates and our like content management system and backend updates that we're going to address, we're going to have at least 2 maintenance days in the near future. We might need more, but I can't. Like, I asked the devs what they need, and they said we need 2 maintenances where we need to shut down the service for a couple of hours. And we said, okay, let's schedule them and let's announce them and let's make sure that everybody knows and isn't scared why suddenly Dungeon Fog says maintenance mode. So on March the 24th, this is a Monday, both are Mondays. We assumed that on Mondays, most people do not make maps. We didn't just assume, we're also seeing it in the statistics. So it is one of the most quiet days of the week. And so we said, okay, on March 24th, which is a Monday, we will go into a long maintenance, which means that we will start maintenance based on here, Europe, Vienna time, probably in the morning, and we will end it as soon as maintenance is done. But since we can't really anticipate, like, we're planning for the best case, but we're preparing for the worst case, and the worst case is that we have to roll back and kind of reinstall the old databases, which might take a couple of hours. So in the best case, it's an hour or an hour and a half for us to go into maintenance, update the system, and then go out of maintenance. Worst case, it's a day's work to actually restore everything. There is a fallback. The devs said, if we're not confident that we can do it on March 24th, because we're scared or we need to verify something, can we have a fallback date for it? And we said, okay, sure. So officially expect the first maintenance on March 24th. If we have to push it back, we will do the announcements in Discord and through social media. Then it's going to be on the 26th. And that one is for that one is actually, I think, for mirroring our database structures and mirroring everything onto a test server. And on April the 7th, it's the official update then. It's then we're going to switch, which is not going to be the new the account unification yet. This is just updating our infrastructure to the latest versions and the latest updates so that it is ready for that. The account unification then will happen, as we've seen, somewhere between let's say May and June.
Now, this is only going to affect the battlemap editor. It's not going to affect DEIOS.
That's a good question.
It's already been answered in chat.
It is primarily affecting the battlemap editor.
Yes.
Okay, so someone, I assume Lars already answered it. So it's a battlemap editor stuff. Okay.
I just wanted to ask the question out there though, because if folks are not reading the chat, then they won't get that answer. So it's mainly just the battlemap editor and that sort of thing. Okay, cool. So we will watch out for those days. Make sure that if you are planning any maps for your adventures, you get them done before the 24th and before the 7th and exported so you can access them how you normally would.
Right.
All right. So then...
Yeah, account unification. We've spoken a lot about account unification already. So here's the... until account unification has happened, I'm going to continue to shout out to you and say, if you want to help us, the best thing you can do is go into your DEIOS account or go into your Dungeon Fog account and make sure that both accounts use the same email addresses. This will help us a lot because it will allow us to find you as a user in both systems, identify you by the email address, and merge you, which hopefully will remove the amount of people who say, I now have 2 accounts, I don't have an account anymore, or whatever, I never received the email address for the password reset. So make sure that your credentials are up to date, and ideally make sure that they're using the same email address.
Perfect. Okay.
Yes.
Now let's get some cool stuff to look at.
Yes, sir. Let's talk about assets. Okay.
You could say that this asset pack is quite a large body of work.
Oh, yes. We were almost killing ourselves for it.
Well, I think this is a very grave situation. So
yeah, probably. So everybody try to keep your heartbeat.
Let's have a look at the new assets.
Yes, so that one has been released. So a couple of you might have already noticed that it is in the asset manager and in the battlemap editor available, and it is the corpse pack number 1 because we realized that we very much enjoy creating corpses, and so there might be a follow-up there.
I love it. I love the one clutching the M4A. It's like, I'm going to die with wine. That's it. I'm not going alone.
We had so much fun planning them, and I can't repeat often enough how much I love my job when one weekday is having a business meeting where you go into a meeting, you start your video call, you go in there, and then you talk about how could we make people be dead?
Yes,
and
we need
or how
mummies.
Do you
raps.
do dragons? And then 1.5 hours of discussion and juggling ideas of what could be there. And I really enjoy the way that Tony picks up the ideas and works with them, because we said, well, we want a thief who got killed by a trap in a chest, so we have that here. We want regular like decoration corpses where you have skeletons lying around or mummified bodies, but then you have crazy stuff like we said, okay, what about a group of adventurers who got petrified? And so there are a couple of really cool. It's a warrior, it's a barbarian, and it's a mage or wizard that got petrified. And then we have those weird things like the thief who tried to get away with the gold but got killed. As you said before, the drinker who clings to his amphory. It's a lovely pack. I very much enjoyed it. And the idea is that you have more stuff that you can put into, for example, an empty room where you don't really think that this room needs a lot of furniture decoration, but it shouldn't be just empty. You could put a corpse in there, and right.
Now we've also got a preview of something that's coming up, but it's something that is, we don't often see this. We don't see the stages.
Yeah.
We just go, okay, Till's doing an elf pack, and then we see beautiful artwork from Tony, who does the artwork.
Yeah.
So what's next?
Okay, the next one is the upcoming asset pack, which is being finished. We were hoping that we might be finished for the stream, but since Tony has a day job, he said he can't finish it for tonight. But I took our like the way that we work is a good example. So this one is the upcoming asset pack. Yes. And the way that we do things is we have that business call where Tony and I sit together, typically around 9 in the morning. We have a call. I come up with a list of 25 to 30, 35 assets, where we say, okay, this is the pack that we want to do. So we have a backlog of packs that we know that we need to do eventually. And I always bring in a new idea, and then we debate about, do you want to do one of the old packs? What do you think about the new one? Which one is the most interesting for you as an artist? And in that case, for example, we picked the new one. And together we go through the list, we update the list, we change things on the list. And the list often says something like, we need a candle holder. So how do we call it? Let's call it face hugger candle holder-ish thing. Or floating crystal broken, right? So that's how we name things in our Excel list. And then Tony takes them and he starts to sketch them. And once he has the sketches, he sends them over for review so I can look at them and I can say, oh, this is amazing. Wait a bit. I think the archways might be too chaotic, like too dense. Are we going to use them like that, or are you going to change them with color? How much do they update? So we're discussing them. This is not a long call. This sometimes isn't even a call, where he just sends it through. And I look at it and I go, oh my God, this is so cool. When can I have it? So in our case, maybe someone can guess what it might be, the pack that we're looking at. Well, we have the face hugger apparently in there. We have another very iconic creature in there that might give it away.
Yeah, there are a couple of very heavy influences which are really cool. There are at least three that I can see. 1, 2, 3, actually 4. There are 4 well, no, technically the one's from the same genre. So anyway, whilst we move on, try and tell us where you think or what you think this theme is, because I think it's absolutely spectacular.
It is.
Really, really cool.
It is. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And so, let us know in the comments what you think it is. But there's more that's been added.
Yes. This is just what we do for our part of the content subscription. But there is, of course, the marketplace, and we have very busy artists, companies who are adding regularly to the marketplace. And since the last time that we looked at the marketplace, Forgotten Adventures was busy. And they have added 5 new packs that are now available, as always. For those who, for example, have a free account, it's available for purchase in the marketplace. For those who have a premium account, it is available for purchase with a discount on the marketplace. And for those who are supporting Forgotten Adventures through their Patreon, it is also already available to you through Patreon Connect. So you have the opportunity to connect your Patreon account with Dungeon Fog, and if you have the right tier to get access, and I think Forgotten Adventures has a very easy tier list there, then we sync those and say, oh, you are a supporter of Forgotten Adventures. Well, then there you go. All of them are available to you now. If you're not sure how that works, check out our FAQ offers some help in regards to how do you connect that. It's basically under your account settings, and then just follow the big button that says connect with Patreon. And if you want to browse them, don't forget that you have the asset manager where you can see all those packs and explore them there as well.
Okay, fantastic. That brings us to the end of looking at the battlemap editor. And we will be back on May 21st with more updates as to where we are and more assets by the looks of things. Those assets will come through. We've had exactly one person take a guess at what the pack was, but they guessed 3 times. So that counts as 3 people, I think. Unfortunately, their guess was Cthulhu, Aliens, or Mind Flayer. And it's like, well, it's 3 guesses and one of them is right.
Yes, but it is don't be cruel, Guy. We're going to tell. It is going to be Mind Flayer. But if you look at it, when we said, okay, we want to have spacefaring tentacle chin aliens, let's broaden the horizon a bit. Let's look at HR Giga.
Yeah.
Let's look at a little bit at Warhammer 40k. Let's look at I can't spell Cthulhu.
Yeah.
Let's look at that, and also kind of a little bit of Army of the Dead. So let's see where we get those things. We want creepy, disgusting stuff that you would find in a Mind Flayer's lair, and this pack will provide you with a lot of stuff that you can put there, which also is going to be a really nice combination with the I can't remember the name. Cosmic Horror, the Cosmic Horror pack.
Absolutely. Yeah. Fantastic. Brilliant. Okay, so let us now switch our attention to Project DEIOS.
Yes.
And there is very different from the company roadmap in terms of where everything is at. It's all green. It's super green, as a matter of fact, isn't it?
Well, you're spoiling it. But that's fine. So this is the roadmap that we presented in January, and nothing is changing on the roadmap. So in terms of development, we're almost completely on track, because when you look at it, the asset update for the Asia setting, done. The asset update for the winter setting, done. The asset update for the community edition, internally done, will be released soon. There's no delay on there. We're going to hand it out as soon as we are happy with it. The flex updates. So there was a question on Discord whether or not we are actually at 0.73 or what's going to happen with the version numbers. The flex update is done, so we will more or less jump to 7.6 once we hand out the update, because all the tools have been integrated. We're going to see in the demo, there's still stuff that needs to be plugged in, tested, reconnected. I'm constantly finding bugs and things that need to be fixed. But generally speaking, we're in the testing phase there. We are testing for everything and making sure that everything works as intended. But the development on the Flex integration is done, right? So the only thing missing there is the account unification, because we can't do the new authentication until the accounts have been unified. And that one gets the red delay bar. But for you people who already have access to DEIOS, that is actually not affecting you. Because you'll get the updates, you'll get the new stuff, and it is basically, we're approaching the 0.8.0 in April, which is going to be our closed beta launch. So that's the only thing that we had to change, is we said, okay, if we can't make an open beta launch in April, we have to kind of call the first one, the ones that you will be getting, our closed beta launch, and then there will be an open beta launch once the account unification is done. So why is the biomes update green already? Well, because thanks to the Flex update, developing new biomes has become a really easy ride for us. And we are going to see that there is already a bunch of biomes done. And we're already spending a lot of time on adjusting and fine-tuning biomes. And adding a new biome, again, thanks to the Flex update, means that it's not a couple of weeks' work time, but it's more or less a couple of hours to days of work's time. So we're super confident that with mid to end of April, when we actually hand out everything to you, we have the whole list of base biomes included.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
absolutely. Absolutely.
That is really cool.
And I want to take a minute and just say thank you, Ilya, because he did an amazing job. Yes, he is completely focused on it. He loves it. He enjoys it. He comes with new concepts and ideas that kind of build on top of what we decide. So he's putting a lot of effort in it, and it shows. We're going to see. It's absolutely fantastic. So thank you, Ilya, for your amazing work.
There we go. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So there's some questions that have popped up very, very quickly that deal with the Asian world map assets. I think before we go any further, should we just discuss those quickly?
Yes.
Nicholas Kopp asks, can you already tell why there are duplicates within the Asian world map assets?
Because I messed up. When I copied them over, and apparently I somehow in the process created duplicates. They're going to be with the next patch, which is going to be the community editions patch, and it's going to include the flex stuff too, I assume. I have to decide, because I don't want to remove them now that they're in there, because they might then get removed from your map if I remove an asset. But there was also there was a conversation on Discord about that, and people said, well, I would love to have, so why are there duplicates, A, and B, can we have the buildings separate? So I'm going to probably just replace the duplicates with single buildings from the whole unification. So you might need to check your maps. But this is an error that was a mistake on my side, and it will be fixed with the next update.
All right, there we go. That answers that question. So let's move forward. We've got some pretties to look at now.
Yes, okay. So this is a little teaser for what we're going to look at tonight. And it is also already showcasing what you can do with the biomes tools. So first of all, we have, as the community has requested, I'm collecting ideas whenever you discuss assets on Discord. I pay close attention. We had a user, I forgot the name, unfortunately, apologies. One of the users was actually using inverted stalagmites, I think, for tornadoes, for desert tornadoes. And I was like, oh man, you're so creative, but you shouldn't have to. So we said, okay, let's do an updated desert pack. There's not enough desert assets in there. So there's, I don't know how many, probably around 50 new assets for deserts that is coming. You already have received the Winters pack, so you already know that there are new winter assets, which I think work really cool.
Nice.
We do know, we are aware as we're testing and implementing, that some of the assets might still need final touches or improvements. When you look in the upper corner, you can see that the lake and some of the other assets, they have this snow white surrounding that doesn't perfectly blend yet. And we're aware of that. So, but we will just eventually update those assets and make them blend prettier. Also, I am aware that some of the mountains have a weird base blending, where the mountain base touches the map. So that's all like continuous work in progress. We're adding assets, we're reviewing them, we're collecting your feedback. So if you run across something where you feel like this is weird, should that be like that? Then let us know. Right.
That's fair.
Fair. So talking about it, this one has been released already. So this is the Winters pack. You already have that. I think they look amazing.
They're beautiful.
Now coming in accordance to this pack, updating our, like the opposite climate end, we have the desert pack that is
I
camel
love
suit.
the caravan. I absolutely love the caravan of camels. It's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Oh, there are a couple of assets in there that are like, I think the Oasis, all three of them,
Yes.
they look
Yes.
absolutely amazing. Um,
Yes.
I I very much like. I think we're going to do a lot more of those stone formations, like the stone arch. It works with the existing stone formation stuff that you already have. Um, the tornado, as promised, there is going to be a tornado. And I very much like the blizzard, the snow blizzard that we had in the winters pack. You can see it down here. I felt like this is an amazing prop to put on a world map where you say, hey, here's a sandstorm, or in that case, here's a snow blizzard going on. So we said, okay, can we do another one with that is more sandy?
Yeah.
And so we have that. Yeah, I think
Really cool.
it's a cool addition, and it makes your deserts hopefully a lot more populated than before. Right.
Now, Till, you've been promising a demo.
I did. No, I
You
think we're
did.
done. Thanks, guys.
I promised a demo. Wait a minute. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate begging. Please, Till, please.
Okay,
Please.
we're going to switch into our little chatty chat frame on OBS because I have to open and launch the demo. And then, of course, and look at the stuff that we did.
Hopefully.
Yeah, it's with all those prototypes, Ilya's always building like a prototype demo build for me. And that is not performance improved yet. So things are a bit slower on the demo
Than
normal, exactly.
Okay. And what exactly are you demoing tonight, or hoping to demo tonight?
Hoping to demo. Wait, let me draw the map. No. Okay, I'm going to switch into full screen. There you go. Okay. I am going to demo biomes. Because I think that's what everyone is excited about.
It is. Someone's heart has already skipped a beat.
Oh no! Don't force us to add you to our corpse pack.
There we go.
Okay, so since Ilya has finished the Flex updates, he has shifted into developing biomes and like being a crazy person with rapid fire. He's been dishing out new biomes for me, and I had the opportunity to review a couple of them, and they are already brilliant, and then a couple of them aren't fully reviewed yet, so they're not fully as beautiful as we want them to be. So before I'm going to show them a quick explanation, this is a development prototype build, which means that when you look into the toolbar, there's stuff in there that shouldn't be in there. That's just Ilya left it in there and didn't take it out. So this one actually does nothing at the moment. I can pick my biomes through this list here, and then I have a couple of things that I can adjust and a couple of things that might break everything. And we're going to find out which button does which, as usual.
Place your bets.
Place your bets. Okay, so let's start with. I think I'm going to zoom in a little bit so everyone sees it properly. Let's start with grassland, because grassland is not the most exciting biome, but I'm going to explain why this is actually on purpose. So with a biome tool, you might seen it with the forest, you can define an area and it gets populated with textures and assets. When we did the biome, the grassland biome, we said, why do you need it? Where do you need it? And why don't you just use a green brush? And the reason is you want to, this is a typical filler biome where you have a very exciting, let's say, mountainscape, a forest, and the coastline, and there's space in between, and you just want to fill it up. So in comparison to that, there might be grasslands, steppes, tundras, or how do you say, hillscapes?
Yeah, hillsides. Yeah.
Hillsides. All of those will be biomes that you can pick there, and they're typical filler biomes. So as you can see, I can expand on it, and it grows. It's probably really hard to see because it's such a subtle biome. There is an error in there. I'm going to point it out before you guys point it out. Some of the assets drop shadows, which they shouldn't, which is going to be fixed, obviously. I can, of course, well, I say of course, but I can subtract from it. But we're not going to do it in that one because it's so hard to see.
So difficult.
Yes, exactly. So this is the grassland biome, and blending.
You're still in subtraction mode.
Thank you very much. Blending into the next one, which would be the deciduous forest. It's a bit, the naming is still work in progress. Ilya said we're going to name it like that. I said, no, this is not a forest. This is more or less the next step on being filled with vegetation. And we're going to see...
Almost
we're going to see what I mean.
Woodland almost, not yet.
Yeah,
forest,
exactly. But... So it is something where you can add not woodland, because then you would have forest, or that's in English terms, that's exactly the differentiation between it. There's woodlands, which isn't a forest yet. And as you can see with the density, I can of course, it's named poorly. It's not getting denser. It's getting the opposite of dense at the moment. I had to work my brain around that. But you can adjust how many trees are in there. And of course, with the biomes, you can pick them and move them as a single biome.
This is so cool.
Selection is not done yet, so it looks really weird when you select stuff. But generally speaking, when you use it like that, it actually, you can create those different biomes here. And let's do the coniferous forest. We've seen that before. You've seen that in demos before. I'm just going to add that here. We're going to say there's a forest here. I need to adjust the density. There you go. And let's adjust the radius. And let's make there some. So this is still, we're still not fully happy with the way that the forest looks, I have to say. It is still...
the interior being brighter than the exterior.
Exactly. The interior is too bright at the moment. The way that it bleeds off on the edges is probably not fully optimized yet. There's still improvements there to be done. Let's do some subtraction in there. Okay. Oh, yeah, of course. That's not subtracting properly if I have a small brush. So let's subtract here a little bit.
But what a difference from where it was.
Yeah, absolutely. But now I think one of the things that I'm most proud of, we're going to skip desert and Arctic because they are work in progress. Let's look at Rocky Mountains and let's add a mountain biome here. So on that side, we have mountains. Subtraction mode.
That's just so cool.
It is, because when I add to it, we're still, I think the concept is, or what Ilya is going to try is, he's going to fixate the asset. So it shouldn't be regenerating every time you place something. However, the way that it calculates kind of a height map a hot spot. We're going to look at it if I'm doing a separate circle here, right? It is taking the center, and it's using from the outest border of that shape to the center. It's increasing the height of the assets. So we're sorting the assets by height, and we put them there so that you always have kind of this fall-off curve. And we're actually messing around with the distribution and the curves and the way that we do things. Ideally, if you have something like that and you feel like I want to add more mountain here and more mountain here, it should, if you really like what you have, it shouldn't regenerate. But I can't promise it yet because we haven't tested it yet. We are anticipating that it might be a bit weird, because then it's intersecting with the fall off idea. So we're going to see. But generally speaking, I think if you look at that, and of course, let's see what happens if I take this mountain range and I move it into the forest. Unselect. Oh no, please.
You select everything.
There you go.
Yes.
So that's really cool because it actually blends with the existing biomes. So if I have, let's say that there is a really dry area in here, we're going to look at the desert biome. And again, I'm saying this is just Ilya adding things in there. This isn't fully reviewed yet. But this is what a desert biome would look like. And for biomes like the desert, the grassland, we're looking at different computation models to actually generate the biome. For a forest, it is a shape that needs an outline. The forest doesn't need a height distribution model. The mountains need a height distribution model. Deserts and grasslands, they might need actually a cluster model where we say we don't just randomize assets on it, but we actually look at assets and we create little clusters, because that would actually look much better than just dropping stuff there. And let's say that this transitions into Arctic, because that's typically what happens when you have a desert. It instantly transitions into Arctic. And Arctic is also just stuff at the moment because it is just, this is a normal distribution where we just randomize stuff onto it without anything. It's just a random pattern that we add on top of it, which is, I think, the poorest choice of doing a biome. And this is not me complaining about Ilya. This is what we do where we have our kind of blank work template, where Ilya does something and says, okay, look, this is what I can do with a simple normal random distribution. We don't like it. How can we improve it? So we're working us up from there. And let's see what happens if I decrease density. Yeah, right. This is max density at the moment. So this would just get more and more empty. And empty isn't bad. So this is something that we've learned is, and that's why we said we might need to cluster things. It isn't, those are filler things that you want to use. So they should fill up the space and say, hey, I'm an artist. I've put something in here so that the eye isn't getting bored, but it shouldn't be super hectic because then the map would get super hectic in total. So this is just a question of balancing. Okay, and now I think another really nice mountain range. Let's add snowy mountains here. Oh, density. Toop.
From one extreme to the next. Yeah, exactly. So that Arctic, you don't want it to be super packed. You want to give a sense that there is nothing here.
Exactly.
There is so little here that there isn't
Yes.
even anything worth drawing.
However, and that is something where we need to take us by our own noses. When we have such beautiful winter assets, where is it? Winter, 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 winter. Let's go there. There's a lot of amazing. Let's do it here. Okay. So there's a lot of amazing stuff in there where you feel like, why we have it? Why don't we put it into the Arctic and cluster it up as something like that? Or we have those really beautiful. I think they are nice. They're based off on the original. So when does it get too much? And when is it a really nice touch of creating a balance in there? Do we want to have penguins running around in there, or an ice bear that automatically gets generated? Where's the point that we say this should be part of a biome, or this is just something that the user wants to add? And my hope was, but it isn't working at the moment, so we need to find a better solution for it. My hope was that we could use those snow drifts. Oh, they need to be without a shadow. We need to actually create those cluster spots where you say, okay, so this is how snow plains would look like, right? They're not blending. They're blending really good, but not perfect yet. And we're still trying to figure out what's the best way to do, right? But that is that's progress on.
Really cool. Really cool.
It is really cool, and it is going to be like, my hope is at the end of the day, when the biomes are ready, we're trying to kind of tackle the most common biomes from Arctic to desert and the different kind of temperature zone biomes that are available.
Well, there's a certain literature book you could refer to that pretty much handled those questions.
You mean the epic locations?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yes. So at the end of the day, our goal is that someone who really wants to kind of, it was probably like the fear of the blank paper thing, where you want to create a landmass, and you're like, okay, I like the shape of the landmass. How do I fill it? That you go into the biomes, and you just create a couple of biomes, and it already fills up and gives inspiration. So that you can, because they are editable. They're not editable in this build, because unfortunately selection is currently a bit wonky. I cannot select that specific mountain. I should be able to. So you could go in and erase stuff. You could go in and rearrange stuff. It stays editable for you.
But you have at least something from which to work.
Exactly.
As opposed to
but instead of going in and browsing all the assets in the database, we're compiling them into pre-made biomes. You just create a shape. We fill it up with algorithms that we feel like that works.
Yes.
And then you can go in and add details to it. And we are also going to make one biome that is just going to be like, do whatever you want with it. You can fill it up with your own props, you can fill it up with your own textures, and you can fill it up with your own additions to it. So if you want to have a Death Star forest that is surrounded by Aztec statues, well, have a go. So the distribution models will be exposed where you can say, I want the normal, I want the curve, I want the height-based stuff.
Okay.
So it's going to be a playground for those who are like, I want a specific, why haven't you created this specific biome for me? I'm like, yeah.
And would those then be part of the asset manager? So you could create your custom biome and then save it and go, okay, great. So you've got your 10 drop downs, and then I've got my 50 custom made ones.
So on Monday, I had a conversation with Ilya exactly about that, or where we said, okay, what are the next steps for biomes? And the way that they are already built into the Flex system is one thing that's going to happen is we're going to rework the whole organized section, because that one is heavily affected by the new hierarchy system of Flex. We Until we reach the point that you just described, there are a bunch of steps in between. I want to probably save my custom biome at least locally in my DEIOS application so that I can bring it up again. So I want to create custom biomes and save them. Once we have that, then we can say, I want to upload them and make them publicly shareable. So people can exchange biomes. But there's still a lot of work in between. So this is more like, is our infrastructure capable of doing it? Yes. Okay, great. Then we have worked something that is future-proof. Or do we need to pay attention to certain things if we ever find the time, or if we ever get to the point where we can add them? So it's not on any roadmap that you can save your own and share them in the community, because we are not there yet. We have so many other things that we need to pay attention to first. But the way that the system works allows us to do it in the future.
Okay, perfect. So that does answer a few of the questions that have come through.
Okay.
We've got quite a few questions.
Sure.
Nicholas Kopp says, when will the first bug fixed be deployed?
I think that's the Flex update, the 0.7.6.
Okay.
And I am currently testing for bugs, and we're staying very much in line, in schedule with what we anticipated. So approximately somewhere around mid to end of April.
Okay, perfect. Then Annabelle asks, will you be able to change individual assets like using different trees in the mountain biome? And you've answered that.
Okay, yes. So what you don't see here is, because I think, let me quickly check if there's a button for it. I don't think there is. We said that when you create a mountain biome, we are currently adding the conifer tree to it. But we're calling this a skin asset. So the plain mountain biome just consists of the mountains, and they will be fixed in the biome. But we're going to give you like a separate little picker where you can pick the skin asset that will be added to it. So if you don't want to have conifers in there, or you want to have a different conifer in there, you can select skin assets, and they will be skinned over the biome, so they will be added. So if you feel like those should be all dead trees, or like green leaf trees, then that's doable. Which means we're also trying to identify what skin assets might make sense for the different biomes. And we might be to a point where we say, okay, for that biome, skin assets don't make sense, but for that one, it makes sense. My biggest fear is that the biome interface will get overly complicated because we're exposing too many options, and people will get utterly confused when they look at it. And you want to draw maps. You don't want to customize and adjust hundreds of settings. Yeah, I know. At some point, there's a balance. Yes. At some point, you're always hoping that you could do it, but then you're already an expert map maker. For someone who's starting fresh, too many options are overwhelming. So that's why we're trying to pack it all into the custom stuff, where you can say, if you want to mess with the distribution density in the zero point 0.7 to 0.9 height models, then we're going to expose that for. But that's one biome where we give that. But to come back to the answer, picking separately trees for the mountains, it's what we call the skin asset, and yes, you can do that.
Fantastic. Nicholas asks, what are the biomes you want to have finished before going into beta?
Yes, that's a great question. I have a list somewhere, which I have no idea where to look at right now. So I'm doing it from the top of my head. Again, starting in the cold, I want to have Arctic. I want to have an Arctic tundra, which is kind of intermission between ice and rocky
Barren wastes.
Barren wastes, exactly. Then I want to go into grasslands, where I would say grasslands probably has 3 different types, which 2 of them we can see here, which is plain grass, how do we call it? Foliage grassland with trees and plants on there, and hillsides. Then I want to have so we already have the conifer forest. What I'm currently working on is the how do you call it? Green leaves forest.
Temperate.
Yeah, temperate forest. Thank you very much. We already have the winter forests. They're already there. They're not in that build, but I've demoed them, I think, in January. And probably something like a mixed forest, although I'm not certain that looks good. I don't know if we really need that. We'll see. Okay. Then we're going.
Sorry, no, carry on.
Then swamps. So this is actually something that Jasmine and I will be working next week. We want to do a swamp pack, and we're going to create the swamp pack with the swamp biome in our mind. From swamp, we're getting into the drier states. That goes like desert is in between. We have the barren wasteland, dry dirt rock, so more like Western style. Then we have the desert. And then we have volcanic.
And that actually is something that has come through. Lance S. Darby says, are there any assets for lava? I need a lava sea. Everybody needs a lava sea.
So there are assets for lava, I believe. They're already in there.
I think it might be in terms of biome, making like a volcanic lava thing.
It might be not in that one, or I'm probably filtering still for that one. So yes, biomes. So the swamp biome is going to be, it's going to be an interesting one, because the concept of the swamp biome is that we want to create, instead of such a big prop, we want to create puddles that kind of like a puzzle that kind of mix nicely.
Make it, yeah, lovely.
So that when you create a swamp biome, we weave those assets into a pattern that is randomized, that might be again clustered, but that works with those puddles to create that swampy feeling. And once we're happy with that, we can use the same concept to create like lava fields where we exchange the swamp puddle with lava puddles. Which reminds me, there is a specific mountain range that is a volcanic mountain range that's also already on the checklist. So we know that we're going to do that.
Lovely. All right. So a few more questions here. No, one more question. It's a lovely one. Can you start a Buy Me a Coffee campaign where we could give Elia a little treat here and there?
Yeah, sure, I can.
I think Ilya would. Well, I mean, it depends. Does he do well under coffee?
I don't know. I have to ask him. He's a Russian. Maybe he needs vodka. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'll check with Ilya, And maybe we'll do a little call for coffee stuff on Discord where you can actually buy him a coffee.
Fantastic. Lovely. I think that handles pretty much everything that came through there. Just lots of calls for, yes, we want to be able to make our own biomes and save those and share those, I think. So that's something to think about. This looks absolutely spectacular, Till. I think it's really exciting.
It is. I'm so happy with how I was scared of the mountain biomes because I felt like mountains are so important on world maps. They define the character and the style of a world map is often just read by the mountain ranges that are being created. And I knew that if we want to do the honors to biomes, we really need to put a hold on how do mountain ranges look when you create them. And I think they're almost perfect already. So I think all we need to do now is fine tune and adjust a bit. And then look at all the other biomes and kind of meet the same level of love and detail to them. So yeah, I'm super happy with that.
Fantastic. Okay, just a reminder to everybody who is watching, the next show will be May 21st, where we will continue to show everything and demo more things and all that kind of wonderful, wonderful stuff. And of course, answer all of your questions. So until then, if you are craving more information, more updates, more interactions, head on over to the Discord server of Dungeon Fog, where you'll find all of these wonderful people ready to chat, answer questions, and take your ideas for next asset packs and where things go. So make sure that you are part of that Discord. And Till, anything to say, wrap up? Anything?
Sorry, I'm already mapping. I'm already making maps again. No, yes, of course I want to say something, guys. Thank you very much as always, Guy. Thank you personally very much for being here with us again. And to each and every one of you, I want to thank you for your support, for your feedback. I'm happy to chat with you on Discord. I apologize if I'm not the most responsive, but there's a lot of stuff to do. So I sometimes only drop in here and there, give my 2 cents and then drop out again. But still, I very much enjoy reading what you're chatting about, and where I feel like I can add to it, I'm doing my best to do so. So join us on Discord, and then happy map making.
I was going to jump in. I
know. I was trying to pace it in a way that you can't predict when I'm saying it.
It worked. Anyway, goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you very much. Bye.